Hello guys, just received this question in my email. This is the question related uh, to the topic of value at risk, and the value at risk is a very popular technique which is used to assess the risk of the investment. So many financial institutions, banks, investors, fund managers, they are concerned that what is the minimum expected loss with a certain probability or a particular horizon. So there are three components, important components when we have to calculate the value at risk. Number one, that what is the minimum loss? So minimum loss the probability associated with this, that what is the chance to have this minimum loss, so probability, and finally the time horizon, or that how much like over the how much period of time this loss can happen with certain probability. So time horizon. So these three things. Now, in order to apply this, we need first to have the annual average of the annual return, or the annual return mean of the investment or the stock, and the standard deviation of the annual returns. So this is over here already given. Now finally the question is this, that this is a stock of a woodpecker incorporation with the annual return mean of 20%, and the 46% is the standard deviation, this standard deviation over here. Now the question is that what is the minimum expected loss in the coming month with the probability of 16%. So again, we have a mean of 20%, and we have the standard deviation of the annual return, which is 46%. Now, because the question is that how much is the minimum expected loss over the coming month, these are on annual term basis. So we have to convert them in like according to the what the question we have in hand. So we have to convert over here on monthly basis, because this was actually asked in the question. In order to do that, we have a generic formula first. So the mean return over a time period t should be the annual return mean multiplied by the time period, and the standard deviation we also have to convert, and it will be given as the standard deviation of stock S over the time period into annual standard deviation multiplied by the under root t. So in this case, when we plug in the values, so this is 20%, remember this is percent, multiply by the time period, and what is the time over here? Coming month, next month. So it's a fraction of a year, means 1 by 12. There are 12 months in a year, so the time period becomes 1 divided by 12, and this is actually this will be the mean for the upcoming month, the mean return of the upcoming month, and the standard deviation of this upcoming month, if we'll solve this, is actually this annual standard deviation 46%. This is not point, guys, this is not point, right? This is actually sorry, this is 46%, right? Now multiply by under root 1 divided by 12. If you solve it, I got it 1.67%, and the standard deviation on monthly basis is 13.28%. So again, we are not using this annual standard deviation. We are using the monthly standard deviation because this has been asked in the question, right? Let's suppose if over here it would have been written that what is the smallest expected loss in the over the next 2 years, then this t will be 2, and over here we have to take the under root of 2, rather the under root of 1 by 12, right? So if you solve with the existing data, this is what I got. So now what does it mean? It means that again the assumption over here is this, that the returns are normally distributed, right? And the mean return over the next month is 1.6% of this particular stock, and the one standard deviation on the left side of the 1.67% is minus 11.61%. So I simply subtracted 13.28% from 1.67% to go over here on the left hand side. And if I add the standard deviation with the mean, will come over here, and this is one standard deviation on the right hand side, which is 14.95%. So 65, we know that in case of normal distribution, within the one standard deviation on the left and right hand side of the mean, we have 65% of the observation line. So 65% times the return will be somewhere within the limit of minus 11.61% and 14 plus 14.95%. So what about this area over here and here, right? What about this area? So this area is actually, if you see this one and this one will add up and becomes 35%, because 100% from 100% we have to subtract this 65% and we'll get 35%. So 35% is outside this area. Outside this area we have 35% when we add both the right tail area and the left tail area. So the both, because there is a symmetric distribution, so the area is equally divided into the two sides. So it means that this area will become under the curve over here. This area is 17.5%, and this area over here is also 17.5%. That's how it will add up and become equal to 35, right? Now the question is not this, that what is the minimum loss with the probability of 17.5%. Remember, the area under the curve is representing the probability, right? So the question, if the question would have been that what is the minimum expected loss in the upcoming year, in the coming month, with the probability of 17.5%, we have already solved this question. The minimum expected loss is minus 11.61%. But the question is that what is the minimum expected loss with 16% probability when the area under this curve is 16%? So it means that it will be like this area will be somewhere like on the left side of this line which I have just drawn over here, right? Somewhere over here, right? We have to find it, and in order to find it, first we have to find the z-score. So 16% area means, when we have a 16%, it is actually means 0.16. So see where this 0.16 is given in the z table. So we can see that the 0.16, which is the 16%, is lying somewhere between this value and this value. So this value is given by -1, and this value is given by minus 0.99. So this is 0.9 over here, but we also have then 0.9 over here, We have to add them together, right? So 0.09 plus 0.9 becomes 0.99. So it means that the 16% is lying somewhere between 1 and 0.99. It's almost in the middle. So we can take the middle value, which happens to be then minus 0.995. Simply take the average of these two numbers. So add them together and divide by 2. You will get this number. So this is the z-score, and we will use this in order to find the minimum loss that the investor of stock of the woodpecker stock can experience with the probability of 16% in the upcoming month. So how to do it? Let me show you. Just let me write a bit off and look over here. So we have a mean of 1.67% minus, remember we have to go on to the left hand side. So the loss is on the left hand side like of this mean. So we have to go on to the left hand side. So this is minus, and then the z-score, which is basically 0.995. Remember, this minus is actually already reflecting the that we are talking about the left side of the distribution, not on the right side. So left side of the mean. So you do not have to subtract this again from the minus, right? Subtract this minus again from a minus. So this minus is already this one, right? So 1.67% minus 0.995 into the percentage of the standard deviation. And what is that percentage? That is 13.28, this one, right? This one. So we are going back, 13.28%, and now please solve it. When I solve it, I found my answer is minus 11.54%. So here we have an answer now with the probability of 16%. So when the area under the curve is 16%, right? The minimum loss which we will experience means somewhere over here, right? It will be 11.54%, and we will write it like this: the return on stock X, where X is representing the stock of Woodpecker Incorporation in the upcoming month, like when the T is 1/12, right, is at least equal to or less than 11 minus 11.54%. So this is how you solve these questions on the value at risk. So again, the probability with the minimum expected loss in the upcoming month is 11.54% with the probability of 16%. Means that the loss can even be bigger, but the minimum loss with the 16% chance is minus 11.4%, which an investor on the Woodpecker stock can experience with the given data. Thank you guys. I hope you understood this question in a better way.